We have to be really, really careful, especially when vetting leadership, that leadership is not how extroverted you are. Leadership is not how closely we align in our experiences. Because when we look at skills of leadership, we should be looking for how self-aware is this person? How principled are they? How purposeful are they? Are they holistically healthy? Are they secure and settled? Are they attentive and focused on other people?
Hello. Welcome to another knowledge bomb episode of Lead to Greatness, where we believe in helping others reach their greatest potential and together change the world. Today on Lead to Greatness, we have Zach Montroy. If this is your first time joining us, please consider subscribing and hit that notification bell and hit that like button. This will be greatly appreciated in helping getting out this content to great leaders and great individuals like yourself. Zach is the founder and CEO of The Intention Collective. He is an experienced strategist leader, helping organizations deliver tactical solutions in areas of strategy planning, marketing and communications, people strategy, organizational change, and business process improvement. In all of his work, he seeks to provide enduring value by coaching leaders to live out their gifts, talents, and passions in an emotionally healthy, authentic, results-oriented way. Please help me welcome Zach with investing in yourself. This is Cedric Francis, and you are listening to Lead to Greatness.
So excited to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity. I'm Zach. I founded a company called The Intention Collective. We have a number of consultants here in Nashville, but we've got a number of folks on our team all over the United States. And I have three amazing boys. Nazir is 10, just ran in the Junior Olympics, actually, which was really cool.
Awesome.
Amir, I know, it's so fun. Amir is our 9-year-old. And Samuel is our 6-year-old who also runs our house. My wife, Jackie, and I have lived down here in Nashville for the past 6 years and love getting to help leaders lead well, love helping to forge just healthy teams and help entrepreneurs grow and scale healthy companies.
Where did this passion come from?
Yeah, I think it really came from, for a lot of years, sitting under some really toxic leaders and also getting to experience some really transformative leaders and just seeing the marked difference between those two environments. And for me, I was modeling what I was seeing as a young leader, especially, when I was being exposed to what I would say is very toxic leadership, those were the traits that I was embodying. That's what I thought we were supposed to do as a leader. And for me, it was sort of that Popeye moment, remember Popeye, like, I've had all I can stands, I can't stands no more.
Right.
I really in my heart knew that things can and should be better, and had just an opportunity to work for some amazing leaders along the way too, and really got to see what is the power behind healthy leadership, courageous leadership, modeling vulnerability in our teams, and how that really is the foundation to grow and scale companies. It's not about up and to the right growth at any cost, but you can grow, you can scale, and also have a really healthy team and have a collaborative team, and people love what they're doing. And there's a lot of well-being amongst the team, and have great leaders all at the same time. Like I think we've sort of bought into this notion that you can't have it all. So you can't have a healthy team and a growing company. And I think you can.
Yeah. Awesome. And I definitely totally agree with you on that, Zach. So looking at that toxic leader, the good leader, and the great leader, or even the fair leader, from your expertise in working with, different types of leaders through that spectrum, what are some of the common mistakes you see the toxic and the great leader make?
Yeah, that's a really profound question. I think at the root of toxic leadership is this fundamental idea that leadership is about us.
Mm,
that leadership, I'm here to be served
yeah,
as a leader. It's about me looking good, fill in the blank.
yeah,
It ultimately is about that person. And so, then you see power, power over instead
yeah.
of power to or power within.
Mm,
You start to see environments where, we don't talk to people, we talk about people. We use shame as a management tool.
mm,
It's very command and control.
yeah.
You do what I say because I'm the leader. In fact, I had a leader that I worked for, and this was really early on in my 20s. And he said, I remember him, we had a leadership class, and he said, if you're in a position of leadership, you should always be sitting in a chair that's higher than everyone else's chair so that they know that you're the leader.
Oh
And I
man.
remember thinking to myself as a 20 something, if I have to sit in a big chair for people to know that I'm a leader, like there seems to be something wrong with
Big
that.
problem.
Big problem.
Yeah,
And that environment was very fear driven. And there's no way that you or I in that sort of an environment can bring the best of who we are to work every day.
yeah,
And the best of who we are is where our gifts lie. That's where our wholehearted self gets to come out to work, and our unique genius, I think, lives in that area. And there's no way that people can do that when they're constantly afraid of you, when they're constantly afraid of making a misstep, and
yeah,
certainly no innovation can happen. So,
yeah.
I mean, I think when you look at the fundamental mistakes that toxic leaders make, that at the root is what they end up causing in the environment around them. I also think that it really needs to be worth noting here that leadership is a skill and not something that you are born with or
Mm,
something that is inherent to any person. So
yeah.
we have three boys. All three of our boys are adopted, and we don't share the same race.
Right.
And I remember my oldest son Nazir was in kindergarten, and was one of, I think, two black kids in his class. And we were at a Thanksgiving event, and the teacher kept saying, oh, this person is such a naturally born leader, naturally born leader.
Mm,
And the whiter they were, the more male they were, and the more extroverted they were, they got
mm,
that title of leader. No
yeah,
girls,
yeah.
no people of color.
Wow.
And so I think we have to be really, really careful, especially when vetting leadership, that leadership is not how extroverted you are. Leadership is not, how closely we align in our experiences, because then we are hiring people like us, and we are very, very biased in our hiring process.
Mm.
When we look at
Yeah,
leadership and we look at the skills of leadership, we should be looking for how self-aware is this person, how principled are they, how purposeful are they holistically healthy? Are they secure and settled? Are they attentive and focused on other people? I always go back to Brene Brown's definition of leadership. A leader is anyone who sees potential in people, processes, and ideas, and has the courage to develop
mm,
that potential.
yeah,
And so there is a focus on others. There's a focus on being curious. They have the skills of empathy and humility, and are emotionally mature. I those are the skills of leaders that we need to be looking at, that they understand who they are. They're working on
yeah.
the skill and traits of leadership, that they know they haven't arrived. They know how to drive culture and think strategically. And I would say most importantly are others focused. So, how do we do that? One great book that I've used a lot of principles from in hiring is called The Who. And it really is a great guide, I think, to interviewing well and making sure from a situational perspective that we're really digging into the right areas. We use a lot of assessments like the Colby and EQI, the emotional intelligence assessment, really to just help us give some data, some quantitative data around these skills that we know to be true in leadership. It's incredibly important to spend time, to be intentional, and to have a well vetted process
Mhm.
I would say before you even embark on hiring somebody.
Wow, wow, wow. That is a load of knowledge bombs. And this is real good, Zach. This is awesome.
I think the gift of being able to see potential in people is truly a gift. It At the same time, I also think we have to be realistic, and we have to be
Mm,
willing to put in the work.
yeah.
And I think that
Mm,
that might be a big point of breakdown is, I see potential in this person, but go back to that definition that I just used from Brene Brown. It's not just about seeing potential.
yeah.
I can see potential around me all day, every day. It's what do I do with that potential? And
Wow.
if I'm a
Good.
leader, there is a significant weight and responsibility that we should be putting on ourselves to develop, like, and have the courage to
Mm,
develop that potential. I
yeah.
mean, that's sort of like, saying, all right, well, I see the potential in you to run a marathon.
Mhm.
And if you can see me and, you're saying that, like, you probably need glasses,
Yeah.
but also, like, maybe, but I've got to put in the work, and I probably need to get someone who knows what they're doing to put in the work to help me get there.
Mm,
But I think we see potential and then we stop and we throw people into the deep end, and we say really stupid things like fake it till you make it. And it's terrible advice.
yeah.
And I think oftentimes we go back to our own stories and we're like, well, I had to do it,
Yeah.
so I'm just going to repeat that cycle over and over again instead of equipping people for leadership,
Yeah.
which is, I think that responsibility lies on us.
Zach, this is real good. That is another knowledge bomb. And when you spoke that, you really it hit me to the core because here's the thing that I realized, and I'm listening to you, because I had to develop the skill as leadership. And I'm still developing. I haven't arrived. You said that, and I'm thinking about, my skills. I started reading books and started doing podcasts, but I realized everybody is not going to do that. And let's talk about the intent of that. How do you in your organization, what type of things have you put into place, those systems, those leadership systems to develop your team and develop others?
I want to go back to something you just said that is so critically important.
Mhm.
You said, I haven't arrived as a leader, I'm still doing the work. And I think that investment side it's a two-way street, right? Like, I
Mm,
can't just be investing in you, you have to be investing in yourself. And
mm,
as a leader, I should be learning from people that I'm mentoring and developing at the same time. In fact, Liz
yeah,
Wiseman wrote a book called Rookie Smarts, which it was an amazing book that kind of flipped that for me, and flip that concept on its head. Like, we need to always be learning. The scariest leaders in the world to work for are the leaders who think they've arrived. The more I know I don't know, and the more I realize I need to continue to work at this and continue to get better at this. I hope everyone around us sees that and quits and stops working for us, because those are really scary people to work for. um but you asked, what does investment look like? And I think investment has to be intentional, right? I mean, if we're investing, finding our money in something, like, I want to know what that investment is doing. I want to know that, the money I'm saving for retirement isn't, going into a really unstable investments, and I'm not going to have any money when I retire. Like, that's not an easy thing to do, to just put money away. So I think, when we're investing our time and energy and resources, I think we need to be intentional about it, to say, I see a lot of potential in you. I see these genius areas, and I want to help you to continue to cultivate them and get better at them.
mhm,
And that comes from mentors from afar, podcasts and books that we're reading and listening to that are helping us challenge our ways of thinking. And if you need some help challenging your thinking, I love Adam Grant's book, Think Again. But he really does challenge that notion of, like, we really kind of are set in our ways, and a lot of us think we're right about a lot of things. And we need to be learning from one another, but I think we also just need to start charting out what are the areas that we need to work on.
Mm,
How do we grow and develop? How do we continue to get better and better at being self-aware, at being others focused, at being attentive and being empathetic? And there are, I think, just a trove of resources that you can use, but every leader is different. Every leader's experience is different. And I heard, who was it that said this? I heard someone say this years ago. I've never met a transformational leader who does not have a coach and or therapist by their
mm,
side.
absolutely.
And so I think that's where, in one of the things we do is really customize coaching for people to kind of figure out, where are you at? Where do you need to grow? Where do you think you need to grow? Where do others around you maybe think you need to grow?
Yeah.
In how you're affecting other people. And I think for emerging leaders, for people who are new to it, I think that there's sort of some baseline principles that really get down to data around exceptional leaders that can grow and scale teams in a healthy way that we have to work on. And if I want to see you grow into a leadership position, I need to be willing to make that investment of time and money. And I make a lot of mistakes,
Yeah.
and taking time to talk through those and learnings from those are how we grow.
Another knowledge bomb. This is great. I mean, this we're really talking about today, scaling yourself. Scaling
Hmm.
yourself. I mean, as the organization to grow, scaling yourself, because the organization is not going to outgrow you. You have to scale yourself so the organization can grow. So this is really great. I want you to talk a little bit more about what you do as far as the scaling yourself. I don't want to talk about scaling the team. I don't want to talk about scaling the business. I don't want to talk about scaling anything else, but scaling yourself. This is 2023. This is
Mm,
not 1980. So what all you had was a book. I mean, you got audio. You have
yeah.
so many ways to learn nowadays. I want you to talk about what are some of your suggestions to the point of scaling ourselves as
Mm.
individuals.
To kind of talk about scaling ourselves, and you hit the nail on the head. Organizations, teams, I mean, we all have a leadership ceiling. We all have a leadership, lid on our leadership capacity.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's static. I think that that lid can continue to rise and rise and rise. And, to have that growth mindset of, I need to constantly be challenged and challenging myself. I need to constantly be learning and getting better. I also think, part of self-awareness, part of growing as a leader is being open to and receptive to feedback from people. I think Sheila Heen wrote this amazing book called Thanks for the Feedback. And I remember reading it a number of years ago. And she said, one of the biggest problems in organizations is feedback, right? Like, we avoid the hard conversations, we avoid accountability. And for most of us, it's because feedback feels uncomfortable and feedback is hard. There's all these books on how to give better feedback, how to challenge ourselves. And those have a place and they're good. But for most of us as leaders, we are not modeling an environment where we receive feedback well. And so she really challenges leaders to ask two pretty simple questions that are incredibly uncomfortable the first couple times you ask them.
Mm,
What is one thing you see me doing as a leader that I'm doing well, that I should continue doing, or maybe even get better at? But what's one area that you see me leading well in right now? And what's one thing that you see me doing that you wish I changed or did differently,
mm.
or really made a lot of improvement on? And, the first time you ask that question, most people are like, oh, I don't have anything. You're such a great leader. And which is, everyone has a list of what we wish you did differently. And I think pressing people to answer that and to continue asking that, because they're going to continue having a list. But then we start getting feedback, and we get feedback that is tangible and actionable, and we can really start to do something with it. I think we use this tool called the LCP 360. It's the Leadership Circle Profile. It's the best 360 tool I've ever seen on the market. Gentlemen who wrote Scaling Leadership, they did research on what are the attributes of leaders who are able to continue to scale healthy teams and healthy companies, and basically ask everyone around you, and you rate yourself, how are you doing in these areas? And then you really get a really rich data set on areas that you can start to action, from I need to be leading better with systems, or I need to really work on connecting, more
Mm,
at an emotional level with my team, or, I need to work on humility.
mm,
I think when we start to get, data is data unless we do something with it. So
yes.
when we start to get that data, then we can start to really focus on areas that are going to make us a better, more exceptional, more people-focused leader.
Another knowledge bomb,
You're
Zach.
kind, you're kind.
Zach, you are dropping it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. Lead to Greatness. Go back, listen to it again, write those books down, and get you a book schedule and start growing. I mean, this is really, 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 really great information.
Hmm.
You said something that really, I mean, you said a lot of things, but I can't, man, we'll be doing a 10-hour podcast if I reach into everything that you threw in my bag. But I just want to reach in one thing. Yeah, you just threw this gem in my bag, and I have to grab it. And I want the Lead to Greatness community to just take a look at this gem. You said something. It's something, because I've done that. I reach and I want feedback, because I know feedback is not going to do anything but make me better. And that's what I always got, Zach. I always got that aspect. Oh, you're so wonderful. Oh, you're great. You this and this. I know that's not helping me. I need some feedback so I can know what to work on. But you said something that was so key, and I am taking this out of the bag and I'm using this immediately. You say continue. You said something. You said the first time they may tell you this. Thank
And you
you.
got to follow up on it too, because
Yeah.
they'll, the first couple times they'll be like, oh, I don't really have anything, and I'll say, okay, you got until tomorrow, because I know you have a list, and so I'm going to come and ask you this question tomorrow, and I'm going to keep asking it to you every time we have a one-on-one. So like the question's not going to go away. And I was actually telling someone I was coaching today this same story. I had an employee when I was in a COO role come into my office one day. I was in so many meetings during this season of my life, and I had a meeting. I had asked our marketing team to come in and make a presentation about something. We needed to make a key decision at the end of this meeting. And I had another meeting to get to. So I was like I wasn't even leading the meeting, but I took it over so that I could get it done on time, make the decision. Everyone's going to be happy. I saved them a bunch of time. I also railroaded over my entire team, didn't even let them make the presentation that I'd asked them to make because I had somewhere to be. But I
Mm.
made the decision and thought I looked, really good. Everyone's happy. They got out of the meeting on time. He circles back to my office and he didn't even report to me. He was a skip level report. And he was like, hey, you know how you ask us that question about what you need to improve of leading that meeting? And I said, tell me more. And he was like, you asked our team to prepare. We've spent days on this. You didn't even ask us to, to present what we had prepared, because it seemed like you just had another meeting to get to and needed to make a decision. And I was like, dang it, that's exactly what I did. What do I need to do? Like, what does repair look like here? How do I need to fix this?
Yeah.
And I had to go have a bunch of one-on-one conversations, and we needed to rehab the meeting and, figure out the decisions that need to be made. But if he didn't feel comfortable to be courageous and have that conversation,
Yeah.
and I would say he probably wouldn't have been if I didn't ask that question all the time, then there would have been a huge amount of relational collateral damage that I probably wouldn't have even been aware of for weeks or months. But because he had the courage to be able to do that, and we created an environment that rewarded feedback, he was able to do that. And I was better as a leader because of it.
Zach, all the knowledge bombs are just going off, fireworks show. That is amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's fun to be in a community of leaders who want to grow and get better and be challenged. And I mean, that's hopefully what all of us are desiring in leadership.
Man, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I have a suggestion for you for an amazing book that you can write called Scaling Yourself. And then the subtopic can be investing in yourself, something like that, because everybody don't know what scaling yourself mean, but investing in yourself. I think that would be a great book because you already wrote the book on this podcast. I just want to hear more.
You're so kind. And you get the royalties from it because you came up with the idea. I love it.
I want to purchase the book because, man, this is amazing. And you really have dropped so many bombs on us on today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Zach. I want you to do this. Now, I don't want you to just give us your website. I want you to, if you got a podcast, if you have a YouTube channel, I want to know everything you have. I lead the greatest want to hear it. So let us know. If someone wants to connect with you and what you're doing, where all the places that they can go.
It's not too complicated. We don't have a podcast, maybe one day. So intentioncollective.co is our website, and we have an amazing team that I have the privilege of getting to work with, and we all love writing and we love research and we love challenging each other and ourselves to growth. So we've got the team has written a lot of really great resources to help leaders be better leaders and help teams be more effective. So intentioncollective.co. And then we're on LinkedIn as well. We kind of post everything there too. And so that's how you can get in touch and send us anything that you find that's helpful. We love getting to read. We love learning and love challenging ourselves.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. And make sure that amazing team you have, make sure you pitch the idea to them and see if they agree with me that you should write that book. It
can be a team thing. We can write it together. I love that.
That'd be great. Well, Zach, thank you so much. On behalf of the Lead to Greatness community, we want to thank you so very much for taking time out of your busy schedule and adding value to us all.
Thank you, my friend Cedric. This was great. I just am humbled to be here and appreciate your time and the opportunity.
We want to thank you for joining us today on the Lead to Greatness podcast. And if this is your first time, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like button, hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of these amazing episodes. And if you're on iTunes, go ahead and rate the podcast and leave a review. That helps get the word out to great leaders and entrepreneurs like yourself. So we want to thank you for joining us today. So remember, if you help others reach their greatest potential, together we can change the world. Peace.